Yeah, and for a lot of people, that they'll always try to like see who's like who they think is the star in the group, and which, to be frank, everybody's a star in this group.
That was musician Zahara Curtis. I'm Jeff, and this is Storied San Francisco. In this episode, we pick up where we left off in part 1, with Mama C telling us the story of how she met her husband. Then we start to hear from the Curtis children. Zahara is joined by her brother Nile, and then her sisters Isis, Kiki, and Phoenix, who tell us all about starting their band, the CNotes. Mom and Dad soon joined forces, and the group became what they are today, the Curtis Family CNotes. Aaron Lim of Bitch Talk Podcast steps in to take over the hosting of the rest of the episode, as this was a collaboration between our two shows. The family asks you to please watch them compete on America's Got Talent. You can also follow them on social media. You won't be sorry, as among other things, they do live shows every Monday at 7:30. Here's Mama C.
You define you, and I still struggle with those things, because even the children will be like, "Mommy, you deserve that." No, you're not putting anyone out. That's what you deserve. And I believe strongly that even with like America's Got Talent and a lot of the things that we're receiving, my children even like to say, "Don't confuse the universe, Mom. You don't want to confuse the energy." You accept it. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, that's been one of the greatest lessons for my husband and my children. And that's what's been great about doing music as a family, is that what we teach them, they hold us up to the same standard. So we have this great thing, the Curtis principles.
Okay.
What are they? Can you guys say them?
Oh. Pay attention, be prepared, never give up, show up, produce. So,
Boom.
like one of our, I know I might be shifting topic, but
no,
before our live stream, one day we were all like, we felt like we were rushing, and it felt like everyone was getting frustrated. And I was like, "Look, guys, we go live at 7:30. And it was like 7:25, and look, guys, let's just not do it. We don't have to do it." And then Nile said, "The show must go on.
Yes.
Never give up."
Yes.
Nice. And I was like, "Oh, damn." So
and on that day of that live, it actually turned out really great.
Yeah, that was like one of our greatest lives.
Of course. There you go.
So that's been what's been really great is us on this adventure as a family, is that we can depend on one another. Mm-hmm. My husband and I, we talk about things with them. I mean, I wasn't raised with like being part of the conversation. Yeah, it's like, this is grown folks, you don't.
You didn't even go in a room where grown folks were, right? You would get a whipping for that.
Yeah.
Right.
What you doing in here?
Yeah.
But
and any one of them could whip you.
Yeah.
So we make sure that we include the children in our decisions. I mean, granted, Papa C and I will talk about things first, but we do discuss how to present the issue to the children, but we want them to feel like, because our decisions do affect them. Mm-hmm. So even embarking on this family band situation, and then even on the show, it's like, do you guys want to do this? Because we are going to have to go to
Right.
We had to disclose these things with them. But to wrap it all up, a big part of my story is that me becoming a mother has really helped me evolve into the person that I am, as with all mothers. But I feel like they are the biggest reflection of myself. And they're also, if I see things that are like, "Ooh, let me check Kiki on that," they'll remind me, "Well, that's your mini. Maybe you should take care of that yourself too." So even with music, I see a lot of the commonalities there. So it's like, if I check her, I got to check myself. And then I also have to say, "You know what, Kiki, Mommy struggles with that. We can work on it together." And that's been a blessing. I feel like I went a lot of different routes with my
Let me just say something about my wife, and I need to say this about her. She is a beautiful person. you know, she has a lot of heart. She's pleasing to look at, and she's the same inside. She has her faults like anyone else, and fortunately, I'm a little older. I'm able to impart a little bit more wisdom when it comes to that. But she's awesome. And her awesomeness can be so giving that I have to like reel her back in.
Right.
Wait a minute, hold on now. Yep. You're giving a little, because you can make yourself vulnerable in that way. I grew up doing that, but I had to learn that the hard way. You know what I mean? So I've had all this time to figure things out, and I'm able to give that to her because I lost my mother that way. My mother gave everything that she had, and until she couldn't give anymore, and then she was just taking advantage of so much and used so much that she was misused. And we're all here on this planet to use each other, but not misuse each other. And so it took me the longest to allow people to give to me as well. But I had to realize, if I didn't learn anything else from the religious aspect, because I'm not religious by any stretch of the imagination, but what has happened with religion that I did learn that I was able to take away is, if you don't allow someone to give to you, that's selfish. Because you're cutting off their blessing. You're cutting off their connection with you and feeling like they're giving to you, instead of always you wanting to be the one to be the giver. And so I learned that through my mother's death. And I was bitter for a long time. And then I started seeing it in my wife. And then that's when I had to come up out of that situation. And through watching her, it healed that part in me to no longer think that way. And so it's just been this this beautiful ride with this family, you know. And, you know, I had to put that in there because it's like, a lot of times she's so down on herself, and it's like, no, you're an awesome human being.
Yeah.
You know?
Should we hear from the kids?
Yes.
Let's-
Remember to
identify yourself. Are all of y'all born in San Francisco? Or?
Yes.
Okay. SF born and raised.
So my name is Zahara, and I am 16. Oh, my bad.
My name is Nile Curtis, and I'm 15 years old.
Hello, my name is Isis Curtis, and I am 14 years old.
My name is Kiki Curtis, and I'm 13 years old.
My name is Phoenix Curtis, and I'm 10 years old, and I'm turning 11 in July this year.
Oh, happy early birthday, Phoenix. Anyone can answer this, but for the band, was it like a singular, we're going to start a band, or did it evolve over time? Y'all grew up with music all around you, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Right? Instruments and music to play, and yeah.
I think it kind of evolved. So the kids, like Isis, like everybody, we were one band at first, and Mom and Dad had their own band, which was Soul Funkestra.
Okay.
And we were the CNotes at the time.
Well, let's go. I think we should go all the way back.
Let's do it.
So, this is Zahara, and for me, my first time for like doing music was when I was 7, and I sang at Yoshi's.
Oh, yeah. When it was here in the city?
Yeah,
Mhm.
but now
Right
where
here.
it's called the audition, right?
The audition.
Yeah, the audition. And then I took a break from music, and I just started watching my parents perform with their band Jazz Hieroglyphics. No, before. This is before.
This is before.
And I started, and then I started getting back into music when I went to Everett. This was when I was 12. There was like a ukulele program.
Oh, yeah.
And I when I first went there, I fell in love with the ukulele. I started playing all the time. I bugged my mom about it for like the longest time until she got me one.
Yeah.
And then we started doing like talent shows over there for some time. And then
with your friends at school?
With my friends and the teacher. I think her name is Miss Susie. Yeah. Anyways, and then after that, it it went on for a year, and then it didn't like continue, and so I started doing it on my own, and then which was at the house. And at that time, there were like a lot of instruments still at the house, so. When I got bored of the ukulele, I started picking up the guitar. I started playing covers and all that.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started bringing some of my siblings to like come and play with me. Well, we didn't have an assigned instrument, so we would just like I would make them like go and pick out which one.
Depending on the day.
Yeah, depending.
Yep.
And so Isis got on the drums for sure. And then she just started singing.
Did you like it, Isis, the drums?
I
right
love
away?
the drums.
Yeah.
I love the drums.
They're fun. Huh?
They're super fun.
And, if I may, hell of important. For the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And then Kiki picked up the guitar. Phoenix picked up the piano. And then Nile actually picked up the guitar because we had multiple guitars at the house. But then my dad, he was like, we need a bass player, so I'm going to assign you to be the
Also
bassist.
very important to the band.
And then he loved that even more. All of us, we play multiple instruments now.
Okay.
And my brother, he does too, but he's like, I'm the bass man. I'm going to just stick with this for now, and then I'll move on.
Yep.
But yeah.
But one thing I have to say is that I think it's interesting that I picked up the guitar and I'm left-handed. because,
Identify
like-
yourself.
Oh, I'm Kiki
That's okay.
right now.
Talking
Did you pick up a right-handed guitar and play it
Oh,
left-handed?
no, it was actually a
Because that's what
right-
Jimi Hendrix did. It worked for him.
Yeah.
She plays that.
I know how to play it upside down now.
There you go.
But I think it's weird that not weird, but it's interesting that a left-handed person like picked up the guitar. I don't know why. It's just there's not a lot of left-handed guitarists.
Yeah, we had the hardest time picking out a left-handed guitar for her because
There were
none in Guitar Center.
Right.
So, yeah. So
I'm actually left-handed,
Oh, okay.
and I can play it, but because I can't feel these fingers,
Right.
it just feels way too weird doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I also can't feel the inside of this finger. So it's a little weird. So when she picked up the guitar and started playing, and it actually goes back a little more than that, but I'm gonna let them keep going.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad is actually left-handed, but ever since that injury, he became like ambidextrous,
Right.
like by force.
Right.
So no, it's because he couldn't use it. But yeah, that's pretty much how it started, and then it became the CNotes. All of the siblings that became a band.
And was that already like you two on guitar, drums, bass, keys?
Yeah.
That was okay. The same configuration we usually see with all y'all.
And I remember our first song that we did as our sibling band was Jefferson Airplane song, White Rabbit. Yeah. Isis was singing.
Local band.
Yep. And
There you
Isis
go.
was singing and playing the drums, and we had
Right
like
on.
the best time. We even have a picture of that day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, it was on AGT. Remember
yeah,
that?
what was funny was we didn't know. I didn't think Isis was gonna be on the drums, but Papa C and I were in the room talking, and then we literally heard White Rabbit, and we walk in the living room, and Isis is singing and playing it.
Okay.
And we never taught her like the pattern.
Never
she just
taught
took,
her anything.
She just, I guess, figured it out. And we were like, oh my gosh, Isis is singing the lead and playing drums, which is difficult.
Yep.
So that was interesting.
And that song came about was because all the time when we were driving to school, my parents would always play like old songs, like from the Drifters, the Spinners, Jefferson Airplane, Journey, Mills Brothers, like everything. So
Sly
we
and
had-
Family Stone.
Sly and Family
I know. I've heard
Stone,
y'all play
for
them.
sure.
Oh yeah.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind,
And
and Fire.
especially
Oh, yeah.
my dad's favorite, Glenn Jones and Peebo Bryson, was always played
Ooh.
in the car.
Ah.
And so, yeah, so we always had these songs like in our mind, but for some reason that one clicked for us because it was like we could play that,
Yeah.
and Yeah.
I think it was just
I
super
think
simple
it was
to
fun
begin
'cause
with.
We loved Alice in Wonderland when we were kids.
Yeah.
But we didn't really know what that was about.
Yeah, we didn't know what the song was about.
You learn later.
Or the movie.
You learn later. Yeah.
We learned later.
It's a good story when you don't know, too.
Yeah. When you're innocent, you don't.
Yeah.
And now all the instruments, I'm Phoenix, and now all the instruments that we play, I'm Phoenix, and I play the bass, guitar, violin, piano, and the drums.
Right on.
I play the bass.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, Mark Gangham on the drums.
Okay. Another rhythm
Very
instrument,
yeah,
right?
very slowly.
Yeah.
And I play guitar and violin and the drums.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm Zahara.
I'm Kiki, and I play piano, and I'm the left-handed guitarist of the group.
Yeah, you are.
I'm Isis. I play the drums as my main instrument, but I also play the piano, the kalimba, and the ukulele. The drums was my first instrument, but now the kalimba is starting to become my favorite. I just love to play it. a lot.
Awesome. Do you all sing both backup and lead, or is it
Yes.
all of you?
Yes, sir.
Everyone. Okay.
And you know, I'm glad you brought that up. They all sing lead, and this was purposeful in the arrangement of the music. Is that I didn't want my wife and I, we never wanted the focus to be on any one person.
Right.
And there's something about the visual when you see that. I grew up when groups would finish, like a lead singer, another singer would come in and actually finish his phrasing. I always thought that was cool. It was like, you'd hear Eddie Levert and then Walter Williams would you'd be focused on him, and then you don't see his lips moving, then all of a sudden he's finishing the phrase.
Yeah.
I always thought that was real cool.
Yeah.
And so I always wanted to figure out how I could create that. Well, it was natural in being a so-called jazz musician, playing in all these jazz bands, because that's what we do when we're soloing, you know. So that was what I always wanted, and I never wanted the focus to be on any one individual so that people could single this person out and say,
Got it.
that's the leader of the group. We're all the leader of the group.
Awesome.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, that they'll always try to see who's who they think is the star in the group, and which, to be frank, everybody's a star in this group.
Yeah.
And
Love it.
and I feel like it's sometimes people do it intentionally, but sometimes not intentionally, because throughout history, a lot of bands and a lot of musicians, there would always be a main lead singer. So,
Like Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, or
Yeah.
the
Diana Ross.
Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Yes.
Which used to be the Supremes in general, and then it turned into the Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then eventually Diana.
Diana Ross. Yep.
I'm Erin Lim. I used to play violin, I used to play piano, and I used to skate. I'm just vibing off of what you guys were doing earlier. But yeah, I did a lot of research this morning about y'all, and like Jeff said, I found y'all on Instagram, and it was either through Sheila E. or it was through Black San Francisco. I don't know which Instagram account, but you guys blew me away, and I'm so excited to have you here and to actually see you in person. So in real life is really cool. But I wanted to talk to the kids because each of you in your bios talk about astrophysics, chemical physics, aspiring physicists, and what was there one more? Can you talk about this fascination with physics? Because I don't have it in my vocabulary at all. So, please.
So, hi, this is Phoenix.
Yes.
And
The youngest, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
How I got into liking astrophysics and all physics in general. So it was through Neil deGrasse Tyson. And then after I was watching a Star Talk with my family. I went to go look at some stuff on the computer, and then I started And then we started buying like space and universe and physics games, and then I used to play with those a lot. And then there's this one, it's a matching game, and it's my favorite because it has all the matching cards and a book of all the facts of the planets or stars or dwarf planets. And I think my favorite one would be the solar flare, which is something that is on the sun. It looks like a little handle, but it can cause blackouts across the whole entire Earth. And yeah, it's my favorite.
So this is Kiki, and it was also, for me, it was also Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like, we used to watch, what's it called? His show, Cosmos, when I was really young, and I also loved science. And I also thought it was cool that we saw, like, a person that looks like us, like a black man on TV, who talks about science, and, like, it was just cool because, I don't know, I just really love science, and I thought it was just something, I just really wanted to I just love it. I love it.
But you guys should talk about Tree Frog Treks.
Yeah.
I wasn't in it as long as you guys, so you guys would have like more experience to talk about. I was more in soda.
Well, for the physics, this is life sciences.
Yeah,
but,
It still counts.
Well, let's start off. Well, I started liking physics. Well, just because I just want to know how everything worked. It was kind of bothered me that I didn't know what's going on.
Me too. Same.
It kind of annoyed me, and plus, just like learning about it, I really liked crafting, so I really wanted to know like what physics, like the laws of physics can do in order for me to like invent things, and it's partly why I also got into fashion as well, because I want to combine those two topics, physics and fashion, and just maybe start like a brand in the future when I get older.
I'm Nile, and my fascination of physics kind of started like the rest of them with Neil deGrasse Tyson, but I think Marvel and like comics use a ton of physics terms like so incorrectly, and I just want to know what they mean.
Like they're made up. They're just all made up words.
They just use the words. They don't know what they mean, and they like use it wrong.
So you're saying they're not like cross-referencing. That's what you're saying. There's no fact-checking in Marvel. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a job that you can. They'd probably pay pretty well.
I think they're getting better at that now, because Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's been checking them. So
Good.
Yeah, he's been exposing them, and those are like my favorite when he exposes like these like science fiction movies. So it was really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah. Isis, did you want to add anything?
Oh
to
yeah.
that?
When I started like getting interested in like physics, I don't think it was like while we were watching Cosmos or Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think it was when I started getting into photography, and I have my own camera now.
Okay.
When I started taking pictures, and then I never knew there were filters before in cameras or in a phone. So when my dad told me about like how back in the day there were dark rooms, I said back in the day for a reason. I wanted a dark room, so if we were to ever get a bigger house, I always wanted to experiment with nuclear physics with a dark room, and I wanted to see what effect I could get with the photos.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna.
Yeah, the way you said it, like I was like, frightened.
I still think it'd be fun.
Yes. Theoretically, yes. Sounds like fun.
That's an
Yeah,
interesting one, you know,
You didn't know.
because photography and nuclear physics. You know, it's like, wow, that's pretty heavy.
That's beyond.
And I think because she's saying it, someone's probably either doing it or going to do it.
Yeah, she might be sitting right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I kind of have a silly question, but I do want to talk a little bit about America's Got Talent. And yeah, we've never watched it, so thank you. We'll be watching it. But, you know, between Simon Cowell, Sophia, Howie Mandel, and by the way, did the children know that who Howie Mandel was?
Yeah,
and that he had hair? He used to have hair?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He used to have
I never knew he had hair.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him with hair.
Google it.
Wait, you guys
We
might
saw
know.
a magazine.
Do you?
Yeah.
Are you talking about a goatee or hair?
Oh, no.
His hair, like he
He had a lot of, yeah, he had a lot of hair.
Like a lot of hair.
like mom.
Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a what do you
He had
call
a
it?
mullet.
A mullet.
I could
Yes,
never imagine
he did.
that.
A short mullet. Yes.
I
that's
could
right.
only imagine him bald.
Yeah, did he used to have a show called Howie or something?
Yes. He had a talk show.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you guys know about Bobby's World.
Bobby's.
yeah. Oh.
I mean, I grew up with Bobby's World.
We've actually watched it when we were younger.
Yeah, you guys watched it.
Yeah, how he's a handsome dude. And he used to be on, what is it, St. Elsewhere? Or,
Yes, in
Yeah.
the 80s. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He had a serious career.
With Denzel Washington.
Right.
That's funny.
But and Terry Crews, I don't know if I mentioned him, but it seems like all of those folks really enjoyed your performance. Do you have a favorite out of them? Are you allowed to say?
Oh, no.
Or can you-
Yeah, but we love Terry.
Yeah, like in Everybody Hates Chris.
Oh, you like, well,
He was funny.
well, let me see. The thing is I'm not too, I guess I'm horrible with anything post 90s with television. So with like movies, how I know of Terry Crews was Idiocracy. And I just thought he was hilarious and that he
Yes.
made that film. And then that's when my husband and I were like, okay, we got to just try to find as many things that he's on. And when it comes to television, it's kind of hard because we don't watch a lot of television. I love like rewatching Frasier or
Right.
like
Yeah,
or
we're Frasier.
Cheers or like
Everybody's a Frasier fanatic.
yeah,
in this
we
house.
love Frasier. So it's like if I'm gonna relax, it's that or I'll watch K-dramas. But Terry Crews is really like when he makes cameos and things. That's also my favorite. Like when he was in Bridesmaids in that opening scene. So
Right.
for us, when we met Terry Crews, we didn't even know he was the host. We didn't know anything about America's Got Talent, and we didn't want to like Google anything because we didn't.
Smart.
We wanted to go in there fresh. But when we walked in and we saw him, we were like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna talk to you!" And even the producers were looking at us like we're from Mars. We're like, and we were like, "We told you we don't watch this." But I felt like Terry and his wife, they have 5 children, and I felt like Terry and my husband, they kind of connected because it felt like they knew each other.
But he gets you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt like his reaction backstage was amazing. And then when we walked off and I saw him crying, that made me cry.
Right.
And then we were all crying. It was just a tears fest. Like, and there was an act waiting to go on and they were crying. And what was really funny is that being a part of this season and watching it, we feel like it's probably one of the last family shows. It's wholesome because a lot of times when we're watching things, and that's why we watch Korean dramas or things from other countries, because I feel like we can watch it as a family. I don't have to like close their eyes or just cringe like, oh my gosh, I'm watching this with my children, weird. But watching this season and it being the first time we're watching, I feel like it's like, oh wow, this is fun. Like I can talk about the acts with the children and we can talk about what we liked, what, oh, you like that person, well this was my favorite, or I don't have a favorite, and I find that very, very special. But for me at least, you guys can talk about your favorites. Terry was probably one of the greatest experiences.
For me, it was also Terry Crews, and I was even more happy because I remember I used to see him in like Old Spice commercial, like those like those commercials where he was extreme, like he would like break in the wall and he was like, hey, here's some Old fights or whatever. And like I also I actually like I watched like some episodes of Everybody Hates Chris, and he played the dad. I think his name was Julius. Like I forgot. But yeah, I watched him in that, and it was funny. So I was even more happy. But I was chill.
You were chill.
I technically don't have favorites.
That's great.
Also, just so then nobody gets mad at me.
Right. Yeah.
But I can say when I did see Terry Crews during the interview time, if they were to show the entire interview, my face, I was like cheesing. I would not stop smiling. Like it was a lot. My face hurt after I left. So yeah, it was amazing to see him, and he had like the nicest green shoes I've ever seen. Yeah. Just wanted to say that.
Well, yeah. Wait, Nile, do you want to say something? 'Cause I was about to say something.
Do you have a favorite?
I personally don't have a favorite, but he had some nice shoes. So I guess so.
I like that answer.
I'm Phoenix, and my favorite person that we met, Terry Crews, my favorite.
Okay.
And Isis hasn't gone.
Oh, well,
And Papa C hasn't gone.
I'd say it was Terry Crews and Simon Cowell. One,
Wow.
Terry Crews, he has such good vibes, like in general when you see him on TV, but it's like so much better when you meet him in person.
You're like, is this an angel?
It's an angel with no wings. And then for Simon Cowell, if he hears this, I'm so sorry. I still love you, but he used to be like a jerk in the other
Yes.
TV shows.
Yeah.
But
That was his persona.
It was his honest opinion, but when he had kids, he his rudeness diluted.
He softened a
Yeah,
little bit.
it
He
softened.
But it made sense because like sometimes like it was like really messed up most of the time. But like sometimes he would just like it's his honest opinion and sometimes he's right. Like there's this one guy playing, I don't know, what's it called?
Accordion?
Yeah. And then they all loved him, but he was annoying. Like, that's just me. Like he was kind of annoying, but he was fun. But like he was just being weird.
Yeah, that's why I like Simon Cowell, because he's like has an honest opinion, but you don't have to be rude about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Papa C.
I absolutely loved every one of them.
Great.
And I'm going to point out why.
Okay.
I'll get to Simon Cowell last. Terry Crews is the bomb. You could tell his heart is in the right place. And I just remember, he had gone through some things and people were saying things about him.
He was Me Too'd. But
Yeah.
he was the Me Too in the Me Too.
Yeah. And the insane things that people were coming out saying made no sense. We live in this society, as they call it, cancel culture. And people just have this attitude that if you don't totally agree with me, if you're not in my gang, we've turned into a world of gangs. And what I loved about Terry's just being himself, but he's a beautiful person. When you meet him in person, you get the sincerity of his energy comes through. He loves what he does. We both are ex-athletes. We connected on that. We connected on the level of both of us being, 7 family, people. Sophia, beautiful human being. It all comes across. You can really feel that these people love what they do, and she's a family person as well. She's a mother. That mothering thing is there. It's intact. You get the energy that is sincere coming from her. Same thing with Heidi. You get that nurturing energy coming through from her. And then we get to Howie. Here's a person that's been struggling and dealing with his own situation. But he doesn't say anything that does not make any sense. Everything he's saying is also coming from a good space and a good place. And these are people, he's the kind of person that when he makes a comment about something, the reason why every one of them is there, it may not have to do with music. They all represent people who have gone through their perspective fields of artistic endeavor, and they all have something to give and bring to the table, so that when they make a comment, that comment may have something to do with the entire part that they are used to that has to do with the presentation aspect of it. Mm-hmm. So it's like you take what you get from each one of them. And so he made some comments that people can say that weren't that good, but I looked at it, was like, yeah, that's cool. Because he didn't like the sound. It was the mix. And so that didn't come across on the show. Right. But he made a comment about it. Other people look at that and go, oh, there he goes. He was honest. Simon Cowell, I love to death. And I'll tell you why. It's because he's practical. This is a man who came up in the music industry. Right. He's paid his dues. If he tells you something, he's not going to tell you something because he's arrogant. I think people have misunderstood this guy. It's like he's telling you, he's like, wait a minute. You're wasting your time, you're wasting my time. And maybe you should try doing something else. Or possibly going to get some help to help you get to where you are. But if you think you're going to get in front of my audience and think you're going to make it on this show with this nonsense that you're bringing up here, come on. There are people who have paid dues, who have struggled to get to where they are. And then here you come. It's like, it's utterly ridiculous. And I appreciate that. And that's why I love him, because he's real, you know. And if people's feelings are hurt, sometimes they need a little bit of shock therapy in order for them to get to reality. Because their friends are sitting there egging them on, man, you ought to go on American Idol, man, you sound good. And here's a person coming on there, the person that told him couldn't sing, you know, or hear. Right. And it's like, that's why and we were so pleasantly surprised by this show, because we don't watch TV like that. And it had nothing to do with anything personal, but it's like when they came at us because of our live, it was like, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to do this Hollywood thing, because we live our lives as community activists and artists. And we're actually in the middle of finishing our own debut album.
Okay.
And we had to kind of put that to a halt when we decided, you know, the producer kept trying to get us and saying, look, just come on down, tell you what, we'll take care of everything. And then we said, well, you know, we have never had a vacation.
Vacation, yeah.
So when they said, we'll take care of everything, we said, oh, cool. Well, hey, y'all, let's go down and have some fun and see what this is about. And we're not going down there to compete. We're just going to just do what we love to do and have fun. And the show was fun.
So much fun.
It was definitely a family situation that I would love for every family to experience this on some level, because, you know, Simon Cowell runs a classy ship. I got to say that. The ship was classy. And everyone was so cordial. And the thing that I also loved was it was like being in a circus. Why did they get rid of circuses? I mean, you could still have a circus with, if you're taking care of the animals and you're doing the right thing by them, okay.
Well, Cirque du Soleil doesn't have animals, right?
Yeah, Cirque du Soleil.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
all the contestants, we're still friends with many of the contestants because there was no one on there with ego. We had maybe one or two. With
They
egos.
didn't make it on.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, with egos. We all were genuinely happy for each other and rooting each other on. Every walk of life that you could think of, from gay, straight, you name it, black, white, whatever. we were all loved each other, and it was like we rooted for each other. And
Yeah.
it was like,
Still rooting for
and
each
at the
other,
same
yeah.
time, it felt like we were all part of this big circus. It was so cool.
Yeah.
You know, and that camaraderie felt so good.
Do
And
you
the
feel sorry to interrupt, but do you feel like the pandemic maybe helped that situation or community feeling?
I think it made people more willing to reach out. And I think because we've been so separated, I feel like it made people more willing to look at each other and open up, perhaps in a situation that is set up as a competition. And coming from my experience, I'm very turned off by a competitive atmosphere, and I was very worried as we were being guided to the holding area with the other act. I was like, I had like I could feel the tightness in my chest.
A little anxious.
Yeah. And when I walked in and I realized I saw smiles, I saw people just like curious, but I didn't feel that air. Because there's a very specific air when there's competition. And so, and what's funny is that my husband compared it to the circus. 2 of the acts that have already been on that we've seen in the episodes, they're part of Cirque du Soleil. They've had experience. They were circus performers.
Oh, interesting.
And to bring in a little music, Sly and the Family Stone, of which we love, from San Francisco, he said his goal for his music was to be like a circus. So it's all kind of, we're having all these cyclical things happening, which are great.
See,
But
I have a different take on that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I don't believe it was the pandemic. I believe that you already have to be that way. I believe that, you know, and I'll give you an example. There were 2 acts, 2 individuals, and they were just not nice. But everybody else was just so beautiful. And so I don't think you need a pandemic to show who you really are. You know, we say that when people are under challenges, that's when the real you comes out. And if that's who they were, I don't think the pandemic brought that out. I think that was genuinely who these people were, and that's what made it so pleasant.
Yeah.
So I'll ask the final question and wrap up here. But what do you think your special sauce is?
A special sauce?
I don't know.
As a band.
Oh, as a band.
That our mom.
Oh, a special sauce. Oh, Kiki wants to say. I like that.
For me, I think it's that the mom. For me, I think it's that the mom and dad are singing and playing with the kids. Like, what by special sauce? Do you mean like what makes us different?
What makes you special?
Oh, that's what I think. Yeah, and also that we're bringing back old school in this new generation, which is not a lot of people are doing, but we're starting to see it. Not really. So.
Yeah, I think just seeing like a whole family playing in a band and everybody who sings lead and who plays multiple instruments, because sometimes in our lives we switch instruments depending on who is singing. So like sometimes I'll be on drums, Isis will sing lead, or Phoenix will be on drums or something like that. But yeah. So I just think all of us being very versatile like that, I think it's not all just one of us, is the whole entire band is. And yeah, I think that's a special sauce. Special sauce. Like the Ed special sauce from Good Burger.
Yeah.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Okay. Special sauce. What's the
I
special
can't
sauce?
add anything because they said everything.
Okay.
Well,
can I do a special sauce?
Yeah.
I believe this special sauce is, I hope it comes across in the music, but it's that we genuinely trust each other. And it comes out in the way that the children are very gracious in terms of if someone has a lead, there's no energy of like, oh, I don't get that lead, or they trust in the process that if they're vibing with the song, that they're given that lead is just, it's Isis's for that moment. They understand that the spotlight is on everyone, and there's no desperation for fame, and they just trust in the process of, let me say this, it's a trust in the adage that Papa C says, if you're good to the music will be good to you. And it's just a summarized, I don't want to say summarized, it's just kind of a commonsensical thing. If you put the time in, you will get things back. And it reminds me of like great athletes. People think Kobe Bryant was awesome, that he just kind of sprouted up and he was awesome, but he was the first to show up, the last to leave. Same thing with Steph Curry, Jerry Rice we were just talking about. But even Papa C, people are always amazed at that he's able to play the piano like he does, or sing, or play the guitar or bass the way he does. And Papa C says, I've spent 16-hour days practicing. I better be good at that. And so I believe that's what's very special, is that we've been through a lot as a family. And I've learned, Papa C has helped both of us. We've learned to apologize to our children when we mess up. That's something we definitely did not grow up with. And what that does is that helps to heal our relationship with our children. Because in a relationship, when you mess up, you might not see it, but then when you apologize and you visually see a healing happening. I mean, the first time I did it, and I saw that healing happen with my daughter Zahara, I remember I got emotional, and I was like, that's what I've been deprived of. And I can't hold a grudge against my parents, because they were just trying to survive. So that helped heal me in whatever I might have been holding on to with my parents. But that special sauce of that trust, and that we like each other. We raised our children to like them. And that's been so important, because I love being with them. Like us being in LA, shooting AGT, and even when we were in the holding area, we brought board games. We were playing and laughing, and it helped because we didn't have time to feel nervous. We were just having such a great time.
We don't get nervous.
I was going to say, do you even get nervous anymore? No.
Sometimes this one right here will get a little weird. but she doesn't really she gets excited.
Here, let Kiki defend.
So this is just me, but like I wasn't nervous. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But
excited.
But one thing is that after we performed on AGT and when it aired, like doing the national anthem for the Giants and like the other stages, I don't get as nervous anymore. It's just like, cause I performed on, cause I know that I performed, me and my family, we performed on AGT, and I don't know, it kind of changed how I felt going on big stages. So,
for me, I only get nervous of like how it sounded, like if the music sound good. I'm not really like concerned about like how I am on stage. Well, I am like, because I have to perform. But yeah, that's really what I get nervous about.
Special sauce.
Yes. Special sauce. And we'll end it with you, Papa C.
Special sauce, first of all, is fun. We laugh a lot. Laughter, we have such high regard for comedians. On some levels, I think we regard comedians more than we do musicians, because it's like, that's special, to be able to bring that kind of healing to people. Special sauce is creative freedom. The special sauce is fun, laughter. And at the heart of all of that, you can love someone, but if you don't like them, it's love and like. Love and like, you know, that's, and I don't like to say permission, but let's just use that word, permission to make mistakes. You know, I teach them, okay, if you hit the wrong note, do it again. So people think you did it on purpose. And then clean it up.
Right.
That's the way I was taught by some of the greatest. I've been blessed, you know, to have been nurtured by some of the greatest musical icons in the business. And these are some of the things that I'm able to impart to my family. And that's the special sauce. It's love and like.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to say thank you on behalf of Storied San Francisco and Bitch Talk for spending time this afternoon with us.
Thank you. It was an honor to be
and
here.
being
It's so
engaged.
fun.
Thank you so much in real life. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's
It's nice to meet you too. It was
all.
really fun.
Oh, good.
Both podcasts.
Oh, thank you.
That was the Curtis family CNotes. On the next episode of Storied San Francisco, we get to know Stephen Savage of Blue Bear School of Music. Episode 17 drops next Tuesday. Music for the podcast was produced, performed, and curated by Otis McDonald. Original photography is by Michelle Kilfeather. Aaron Lim of Bitch Talk Podcast is our contributing producer. And the show is produced and hosted by me, Jeff Hunt. Now in our 4th season, we have more than 150 episodes available on our website, storiedsf.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can, subscribe, rate, and review our show so we can reach even more folks. And if you'd like to drop us an old-fashioned email, we'd love that. The address is storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.
This podcast is a proud member of the BFF.FM podcast network. Learn more at podcast.bff.fm.
BFF.FM, best frequencies forever.